I realized very quickly into watching this movie that I am probably not a big fan of Giallo. I don't know. Like, the funny thing is, I want to say, I brought this up on a previous episode. I want to say in like 2018, December of 2018, we were gonna do Giallo month.
Yeah.
And something happened in December 2018. I think something happened with my former co-host, and we kind of lost track of time or something. And I think that month we had like no episodes. And
Sheesh.
Jess had programmed that month, and that was like the first time I had ever asked her opinion on like what movies to watch. She's like, you should do a Giallo month. And then we never did it. And now, now we're here, and I realized watching this movie,
okay, this is not... I kind of
wish we had done it 3 years ago so I could realize that this was not my bag.
This is not the shining example, but it does have the, gosh.
It has all, So Maggie... My good friend Maggie is joining me. This is the Culture Cast. That was a cold open. We are here talking about, if you couldn't fucking tell, Giallo movies for the unfortunately named Horror-tober, which is the name I came up with for the month, and it is...
Horror-tober?
Yeah, see? It's hard to say.
Horror-tober. Oh my gosh.
It's like the rural juror from 30 Rock, is what...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which okay, so you get that reference. Some
yes,
people have been like, what the fuck are you talking about? So Jess helped program this month. We're talking Giallo movies. Maggie of Dolan fame is joining.
Yeah, that works. I could totes do that.
Yeah, Maggie of Maggie the Odd fame is here, right? Maggie, you're here.
I think I am. Hey,
I'm not sure if I'm here anymore. My it's been a week around these parts. If you're part of the Culture Cast family / projection booth extended family, it's been a rough week for all of us here. Unfortunately, we had a loss in our family of podcasters. So our condolences go out to those affected, which is all of us, and obviously our good. But all that out of the way, because we're here to talk about movies, and this is an escape. That's supposed to be for you and I. I can't pretend to know how much we're going to talk about this movie on this podcast. If we ramble, let's ramble in a direction of horror movies, Maggie. Let's just ramble on.
I think we can manage that.
You know what I mean?
I think, we can track with that.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first film of Horror-tober, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh, otherwise known as La strano vizio della Signora Wardh.
Ooh, well done. Jeez.
Sure, probably way off.
Whew.
Noi discendiamo da una ininterrotta catena di assassini, il cui amore per uccidere era nel loro sangue, come forse è nel nostro.
Una donna è stata uccisa mezz'ora fa, vicino all'aeroporto.
Un'altra donna uccisa?
Sì, è sempre a rasojate.
Ho paura. Ah! C'era qualcuno nel garage, ha cercato di uccidermi con un rasoio.
Tu mi lusinghi, Julie. Davvero pensi che io sia capace di tagliare la gola a tante donne?
Certo è che il sangue ha uno strano effetto su di lei, come di attrazione e ribrezzo insieme.
L'odio è un bel sentimento, violento, rovente, come e più dell'amore.
Le farò provare ebbrezza, paura e grandi tuffi al cuore.
Naturale. Volevi andarci a letto e la paura di Jean ti ha fornito la scusa.
Ho avuto modo di vedere che lei è un'amante deliziosa, con deviazioni molto interessanti e insospettate anche dal suo onesto marito.
Niente unisce di più di un vizio in comune.
Perché pensa che sia lui l'omicida che stiamo cercando?
Perché non prova a controllare l'alibi della signora Wardh?
Forse è da me stessa che devo fuggire.
So the film is directed by Sergio Martino. It stars George Hilton, not his real name, and Edwige Fenech?
Can't help you.
A very attractive Italian actress who was born Edwige Fenech, she's Algerian born, and she's fantastic in this movie. And she plays the titular Mrs. Wardh, whose strange vice is sex?
Blood. All of the above.
Violent sex, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into the movie, you may be asking yourself, why is Wardh spelled that way? Well, that's because an Italian woman threatened legal action over having her name in the title of this film.
Wow, that's impressive.
Just tack an H onto the end. It's completely different.
Whatever. Here, take a silent Q. Nobody cares.
So, Maggie, was this your first time watching The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh?
No, this is probably like second or third. Oh, nah. See, once again, I'm conditioned to Italian horror. I like how janky they get, and I think it's like that high risk, high reward type of thing. Even if it fails, at least they were like really dead set on this failure.
I get that, but I think my biggest issue with this movie, and the reason I said ramble towards horror movies, this is not a horror movie.
No, this is a weird thriller. It really is.
This is a thrillamedy. No, that's what they
to us, yeah.
That was the term invented for the film Arachnophobia.
The
actual term invented to describe that movie was thrillamedy because it also was not a horror movie.
No.
So, what does it say that we've started out horror movie month now with 2 movies that aren't horror movies?
You're just faking people out. You're just
that is kind
reeling them in.
That's what it feels like. So this movie is it's something.
Honestly, I really appreciate, this is my favorite aspect of the Italian movie genre, especially horror, is just how pretty they look, despite being so, not even gritty as in gritty. It's more like you didn't dust for several years.
Was that gritty as in the mascot for the Flyers gritty? It's gritty, he's coming.
It's gritty, man. Yeah.
I completely get where you're coming from, because for me, when I think of Giallo, and now with something like a film that I was telling you to check out, Malignant, which people have claimed is, it's Giallo inspired. Okay. Just wait until you watch it, and we'll fucking see where you come down on if it's Giallo inspired or not.
All right.
This movie is nice to look at. It's a beautiful film. It's shot well. Sergio Martino and Emilio Forrest Scott, who did the cinematography, are fantastic. They know how to put together and block a shot.
Yeah.
I think my issue, other than the fact that this isn't a horror movie, because it's a thriller. It's it's a pretty boilerplate thriller. I think my biggest issue with this movie is it just kind of just doesn't go anywhere for 45 minutes.
Yeah. The flow is the equivalent to a really excited 5-year-old trying to tell you about their day, where it's and then a rocket hit. And it's just and then she's not really dead though, but the
whole film on top of everything else is predicated on a twist towards the literal fucking 2 minutes of the movie are left
Yeah.
And it's like exposition, we wrap it up, put a bow on it, the movie's done. Didn't we do a good job? And it's like, you didn't stick the landing, you broke both of your legs on the way down. Well, it's unfortunate because I appreciate what they were going for, because they were trying to give the audience like a fake out, and she got the last, she got the last word on these two assholes. But it feels unearned because it's explained after the fact, and because it's explained after the fact, that allows them to kind of retroactively give it some logic that it didn't necessarily have.
Correct. Which is another trademark of Italian horror that I do love.
Let me explain to you how this works after I've essentially shown you how it makes no sense.
Yes.
Please.
Or we don't want you to think that it's the person that we were making you to think. It's actually the guy that was in the background the whole time.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's actually his mom.
Yeah.
So
the film follows the main character, Mrs. Wardh, who is I guess she's the wife of a diplomat, and they come back from New York City to Vienna, and she married Neil to escape a abusive lover played by Ivan Rasimov, great name. The character of Jean, who is this abusive lover, and he's stalking her. At the same time she's being stalked, women are being killed by a man with a straight razor in Vienna. And it's a little bit of the black glove murders. They do that same thing where they show the black glove. And you think you're being led to believe that Jean and the murderer are the same character. You find out about 2/3 of the way into the movie, they're not.
Definitely not.
Yeah, so I see what you mean by Italian giallo films kind of like really trafficking in obfuscation. Intentional obfuscation.
Right. It's weird, like murder mystery writing where it's like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, in my opinion.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
For the shot that's way off, but it's just kind of that like motif of mystery and horror being, it's like, well, we're really gunning for the twist to get them, and that's the intriguing point. But it's like, nah, honestly, you could have just killed people in your candy hotel room, and I would have been just fine with that.
And that's the thing, is there are two twists in the movie. There's the twist at the end, the kind of the main twist, and then there's this sub-twist of who the razor blade killer is. And what's funny is it's a film of convenience and coincidence, right? Because they even say, the two characters that towards the end of the film, it turns out that the twist of the movie is that her husband is in on it, and her husband wants to kill her to collect the insurance, and the guy that she met, George, played by George Hilton, he wants his girlfriend to be dead to collect her estate. And so he's like, well, what's the best time to, have a murder is when there's a murderer around.
Yeah, exactly.
And on them. Which they explain away why they knew it wasn't the serial killer in like the fucking lamest exposition sentence. I'm really glad that I looked at the way that he killed him. Like,
right. It's like, I would hope you did. That's kind of your job. That's all right. That's fine.
Well, what I don't understand is, like, how did they know it was them? Like, what piece of evidence led them to believe at any... Because at no point in the movie, until we get to the last 20 minutes, you don't realize that the character of her husband and the character of kind of her lover, the George character, you don't realize that they're the villains.
No. In fact, Neil, I remember the first time watching this where I was like really banking that it was Neil that was going to get the last laugh there. But it's like, nope, they just kind of suck.
Yeah, it's weird. So you have the characters thinking they've killed the main character, and then they drive off. And they're exposition dumping in a car for like 5 minutes. They're like, well, this is why we did it. And
while swerving constantly.
While swerving. Like, this is why we did it. We're such baddies. We're going to ride off into the sunset together with our money. And then they drive down the road and they see her. And he's like...
Which she must be standing out there for hours. Right? Just by the happenstance that is the exact road that they would go down.
Yeah, and so she's waiting on the shoulder of the road, and I think the Neil character...
And the police.
Yeah, and the Neil character's like, I saw her. She's still alive. And they're like, what? And then they look in the rearview mirror, and they see her walking towards them with the cops coming. And so they just yeet themselves off of a cliff.
And into a river. They probably could have survived that too. I like how the cops were just like, well, you don't have to worry about them anymore. And it's like, are you going to get the bodies or something?
Well, yeah, they're going to get the frogmen to get the bodies.
Yeah, thank you.
I think my biggest problem with this movie is just the pacing of it is so slow until it's not. And then it just like, it's like the movie wakes up in the last 15 minutes. It's like, oh, no, like, we forgot there's actually a story going on. It's not just about Edwige finished standing around with George Hilton looking sexy. Like,
yeah, although, why not, I guess.
I mean, there is a ton of titillation in this movie. A lot. I mean,
some well filmed, honestly. The whole black room scene, obviously, ever since I watched The Editor, that scene's now completely ruined, but in the best kind of way. Which, honestly, those two scenes that they spoofed is probably the only reason why I still go back to that movie.
Well, and that is the thing about something like this is, like you said, something like The Editor, the Astron 6 film. That movie is a better Giallo film than this is.
Yeah.
It's a better Giallo film than most of the Giallo films I've seen.
Well, once again, it's part of the jank that I love. Between that and the terrible outfits, like, I love George's, like, trying to get them to go to dinner with him outfit, where it's like, what are you, the cowboy of Italy? Love it. I love it.
I think my favorite thing about George Hilton, the actor, is he was born Jorge Gil Acosta y Lara. He's Uruguayan.
Ooh.
He's not even Italian.
Nope. But it doesn't matter because everybody's dubbed anyway.
And he looks Italian enough. And what's funny is he is one of the, like, 5 most well-known Italian actors, up there with, like, Terrence Hill and Franco Nero. Like, Jesus Christ. Like,
well done,
he's not
George.
even Italian on top of everything else. Like,
he doesn't even go here.
You're not part of this, man. You're not actually, like, it's what's funny is, like, again, it ultimately doesn't matter because, like you said, everybody's dubbed. It's like hardcore dubbed, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for as much as Giallo, I'm hoping by the end of the month, Giallo is not something that I come to have a distaste for or a aversion to. But this being kind of like my second Giallo movie that isn't Suspiria, which was my first one, which is like everybody's first Giallo film, I think. Right?
Not mine, but I'm a weirdo that goes through library movies, so.
Sure, okay, fair. But you would agree Suspiria is like the like.
Oh yeah, that's quintessential.
That's like when people think of Giallo, they think of Suspiria. Or they think probably when they think of Giallo, they think of Dario Argento, realistically.
In general, yeah, which that's definitely one to just kind of check out because very luscious cinematography. The story will never make sense. Don't try and make it make sense. Just be along for the ride.
I was gonna say, like Suspiria, I don't necessarily think of Suspiria as like as a perfect narrative. Like that's not why you watch that movie.
Hell no.
I guess to be fair, if I take a step back and I view The Strange Vice of Mrs. Wardh through the lens of my enjoyment of Suspiria, I did enjoy this movie because it's just fucking nuts. Like I think my problem with Giallo is I'm maybe wanting something that it was never going to be, which is not nonsensical horror films.
Gotcha.
And that's
I don't know. It would come off as mundane if I were watching that and it's just kind of a straightforward. I mean, it would be a great story, but at the same time, it's just like, well.
I think my favorite thing about all this is the fact that these Italian filmmakers have such an eye for visuals and lighting.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like, I mean,
it's juicy.
Yeah, what's crazy is like in the 70s in the States. So Exorcist came out around this time, Rosemary's Baby. I mean, when I think about those movies, they are stylish. They are very interesting to look at, but they're different. It's a different way of presenting the story.
Yeah.
They're not as much worried about the style. Like something like The Exorcist is a stylish film, but nowhere near as stylish as this.
It almost draws more on the like darkness of horror rather than the unexpected nature of just putting horror in like lush environments for that juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate that, because when you find like two good opposites that kind of collide in film that shouldn't go together but really do, it's really fantastic. Like, once again, the Candy Hotel with its chocolate doorways, and just seeing that kind of repeat while she's having these thoughts of like blood and broken glass and stuff. It registers differently. It's kind of cool.
Well, it gives it, I mean, again, as someone who, like yourself, enjoys international cinema,
yes,
it doesn't feel like American filmmaking, which is good. I appreciate that. I mean, you have Japanese horror, which is very distinct. You have Italian horror, which is very distinct. And, you know, then you have, I would say there is obviously American horror, and it is also very distinct. But the thing about this is so distinct, it could only be one thing.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's,
yeah.
That's the thing about Giallo, is like Giallo is Giallo, and that's it. Like, it is when you watch a movie like this, you know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, it is very unabashedly Giallo.
Yeah. And you have some scenes of violence. It's pretty toned down for the most part.
Yeah, compared to a lot of the other like kill scenes out of other movies from this era, especially in that area, this is pretty tame. It's mostly like the sexy bits that are amped up. I guess they could only have one or the other, so.
That's what it feels like, because you have characters getting murdered, and it's the PG-13 shot where it's like the razor comes up, and then it comes down, and you see the blood shoot off in another direction, or you see just like you said, like a little bit of blood around the neck, and it's not gratuitous.
Or the aftermath of which it doesn't actually like get into the actual kill.
No, and they do. This movie does, like a lot of the other Giallo films, it uses the over-red blood, the very obvious stylized blood, which again lends this more to feeling like a cartoon or a comic book or something not of this medium, because again, that's not a real blood color in any form or fashion.
Right, that's a butt ton of syrup.
Yeah, syrup. A lot of that, a lot of Caro and a lot of red dye.
Oh yeah.
But again, it lends itself to what I expect from Giallo. If a film like this didn't have that oversaturated red, I would be disappointed, because I'd be like, this isn't a Giallo film.
Right. They're trying to tone it down. What the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to make a movie like this, do it to the absolute maximum degree that you can.
Why not?
That's what people are here for.
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well. Like, you're giving us all this setup and all these, the social interactions in this movie is probably what kills it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't mind the bland back and forth. Like, Deep Red is it's a really bad Giallo movie, but I love it so much. And it's mostly because it's either so preposterous that it works, or it's just so over the top that it works. But with this, like, all of the dialogue either went on way too long or was way too heavy with background explanations, when you could have gotten away with saying like a quarter of that dialogue, especially during like the parties or when they're out at dinner, where it's just weird background.
Yeah, I mean, again, this movie is 100 minutes long. Like, there's what you're talking about, a lot of that could have been cut out or trimmed down, or again, you don't need two fucking twists in this movie. Like, I appreciate
because if it were 90 minutes, the golden point of time right there, I think it would have had just as much impact with just way less of the foo-fa behind it.
And that's 10 minutes. That's it. Like, you're talking about cutting 10 minutes out. Like,
and I could pinpoint some 10 minutes that could go right the fuck out.
Yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary stuff in this movie, and it's mostly character interactions that go nowhere, that serve no purpose.
Or just drag on an obscene amount of time. Like, I love the confrontation where we finally get, Jean in the scene, and then Neil slaps him or punches him. He punches him, and then he just walks away laughing. But that scene could have shrunk significantly, and it still would have had that kind of nail-bitey quality, but it's like, ugh.
Yeah, again, when you have two twists in a movie that are the twists are in their own orbit, like they rely on one another to make one another go.
Right.
And that because they have those two twists, it feels like they're really trying to sell you on those twists not being a thing. Like, they do everything they can to convince you of one thing, and then it's not that. But they spent so long convincing you otherwise that it feels like a waste of time when they're just like, oh, here you go. Like, here's the twist, and then here's the twist, and here's this just fucking very, very, very poor explanation and just expo dump in the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
That's poor writing. I don't care about what anyone says.
No, that's irritating. That is just irritating.
I mean, like, I appreciate Twilight Zone like everybody else, but come on. This is not that. This is not. You don't need to put a twist in the last 5 minutes of your movie and then explain to us why the twist makes sense. Because
no, it doesn't.
No, you don't even foreshadow that Neil is the bad guy. You really don't.
No.
Right? He's the bad guy just because it feels like the other character is dead now.
Right. Honestly, the way that I would have geared it is like, Jean, sure, maybe he was the killer, cool. But I think if he killed Neil off, then that would be way more tension than what they were giving us. Because the whole point of Neil was to protect her from him. And that's why that was. But they like spend so much time talking about how miserable their marriage is, or how loveless, I should say. It's not miserable. He's protecting her. But like how bland and lifeless it is. Only for that just to like lose impact almost immediately, when you could have had it like hit stronger, where it's like, oh, her safety blanket's gone. Right. Now what is she going to do? What's George going to do? Even more so at that point, because then he's in the awkward position. If I could rewrite movies for a living, dude.
I know what I think the most unfortunate thing is I think you would agree there is a good movie in here.
Oh, yeah.
There's a compelling narrative in here. I think it shoots itself in the foot by making it unnecessarily complicated.
Yes.
It's way too much. It's way too much misdirection that it gets to the point that you have misdirected us so far you can't come back from it.
Correct.
I don't buy her husband as the villain. I don't.
No, although
twirling his goddamn mustache in the car, like they're like mustache twirling at the end of the movie. Like,
we're so good.
We're getting away with it.
Right.
Like, what the like neither one of these characters had any foreshadowing. And while I appreciate that maybe the director was just like, or the screenwriters were like, hey, we just want to really just shock the audience. It doesn't necessarily work that way. You kind of do have to give a little foreshadowing.
Right. And there would have been equally shockers at the end of that one. But, like, dude, I don't... although I will say, if there were a spinoff where it was just George and Neil being absolutely terrible at, like, robbing banks, I'd be down. That'd be great.
I'd watch something with them, but...
Yeah. But, oh my gosh, no...
It's not the best example of giallo, for sure. And again, I would contend this is not a horror movie.
Which, fair.
It's a giallo movie, which is fine. Like, maybe just it being giallo. I mean, look, it being giallo, I guess, is enough.
Well, I think it's one of those things where, like, in that era of the 70s, like, most things would be considered shocking, and considering how risque, I mean, obviously we've seen way worse, so it's like, But at that time, I could see it pass as a horror movie. There was blood, there was sex. There you go. I guess that's spooky enough, but...
Yeah, there's boobies and there's straight razors. We got it, folks.
What's scarier than boobs and straight razors? Tell me.
A lot of things.
Like the outfits.
Yeah, like the dialogue.
Yeah,
that was scary.
Yeah, that'll give you nightmares right there.
So, okay, Maggie. So, since it's Halloween, actually, you know what? Hold on. Skip it or watch it on this movie.
Oh, you know what? It's a staple in my book. I say go ahead and give it a watch. It's better with lots of drinks.
And hey, it's free on Tubi TV.
Yes, exactly where I watched it. So thanks, Tubi.
Tubi. First time I'd ever used Tubi.
Oh my gosh.
Works pretty well. I don't know who's behind it. I don't know who owns it, but cool.
Hey, yeah, plus the ads, it gave me like mad Sunday afternoon movie watching on the TV. Except for it wasn't censored. So yay.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm going to say skip it. Again, I think for me, I'm hoping, I know there will be better movies this month. We're talking about Black Sabbath at some point, so.
Ooh, yay.
Yeah. I didn't dislike it. I just think it's not of the caliber of movies that I associate with Giallo. And that's on me. That's not on the movie. So if anything you've heard so far sounds interesting to you, check it out. Again, it is free. It costs you literally nothing to watch other than an hour and a half or hour and 40 minutes of your time. So. So Maggie, we're not done though because it's Halloween, and Halloween is my favorite time of the year. As much as the universe is trying to make it not this year for a fucking
fuck the universe
of reasons. Oh, yeah. Fuck the universe. Yeah, you know what? I don't want to tempt the universe into fucking me any harder than it's fucked me and so many other people. So.
Well, fair. I'm the one flipping the bird to the universe.
Fuck you, universe. Maggie proceeds to have a fucking airplane land on her. Like, well,
let me get all of my metal supplies, go out in this storm just so I can say, fuck you.
Fuck this universe. So, Maggie, I have never asked you, but I want to know, what is your favorite horror movie?
See, I always have to do favorite current horror movie because it goes through a cycle. There are plenty. The one that I will always stand by is always a John Carpenter movie because, good God, his version of The Thing was fantastic. And I grew up watching the 1940s version with my papa, so that's always a nice little connect. I love how they jump that and bridge that gap.
With his fucking weather radio.
Love. Yes, with his creepy, boy.
Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, Maggie was on an episode of Scary Stories We Tell where she talks all about her creepy fucking weather radio that she has.
Yeah.
Christ. Whenever we get to Ohio next, whenever the fuck that is, you'll have to show me your creepy weather radio.
Oh yeah, I got a fresh 9-volt for it and everything.
A fresh 9-volt.
Yeah,
I'm surprised it takes batteries. I'm surprised it's not powered by something else. I don't know, wind power or something.
Right. Ooh, if only.
When the zombies are eating the 9-volts, how are you going to know what the weather is outside?
Well, shit. At least I won't be freaked out by a box screaming at me in a robotic voice.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So what would you say is favorite current and something that you return to? Probably a better question.
I'm gonna stick with Prince of Darkness. So once again,
man,
John Carpenter.
A deep cut.
That is one of the few movies.
It's not a popular John Carpenter movie. You know that, right?
No. I will agree. I mean,
I like it. I'm just saying, like, if you told someone your favorite horror movie is a John Carpenter movie, they would have 4 guesses before they got to that one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, like in the Mouth of Madness, The Thing. Hollow fucking Ween.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where there's like 3 movies before you even get to John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the 3 that I usually go to, once again, Prince of Darkness, because that is one of the few ones that actually got really under my skin and freaked me out. I love that. I love the approach. I love the visuals.
Just weird movie. It's a very strange horror movie.
I love it. And it just has this kind of, and it has this kind of visceral quality to it that it's so strange how it resonates because a lot of it is through the simple filming techniques, like when they have the dream sequences, and it's literally footage that was played on a VCR on a TV being recorded. So it has that weird kind of like haze to it.
Right.
Love that shit. All of the audio shit that they do for the I've got a message for you, you're not gonna like it. It's like, just gets under my fucking skin. I love it.
And Alice Cooper's in it.
Yeah, and I did not even recognize it. The credits rolled the first time I watched it. I'm like, Alice fucking Cooper? And then I thought about it. It's like, because they did the stabby thing. He does it on stage. I remember. But yeah, I love that.
Mouth of Madness too, right?
Oh, well, yeah, and that has my boy Sam Neill in it, which I do adore. And that's probably one of my favorite compositions from Carpenter was that intro. That was badass as fuck.
That's my favorite John Carpenter movie. It's similar to what you're talking about. Like that wouldn't be the first 3 guesses for most people. Like,
right, exactly. Yeah, but hell yes.
The Thing. The problem with John Carpenter is there's too many good movies.
Oh yeah, like Big Trouble in Little China is definitely up there for me too.
The Thing, Halloween. I actually like vampires a little bit. It's not as terrible.
You know what?
Escape
I've
from New
watched
York,
it.
I mean, Jesus Christ, like that's not horror, but
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, yeah.
But yeah, although there's like two subset horror movies that I always return to, and one, of course, Evil Dead. I fucking love that movie, and Bruce Campbell's a hunk, so I will watch it all day, any day. But Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that one I watch really so much, because that was the one that kind of...
I don't know, Nightmare Merry-Go-Round?
Yes! I wanna... But like that was what started me into the genre of horror. I saw that playing on Sunday afternoon TV on public access, and I had to hunt it down, man. There was only like one video store in my county that had it. So
I love that movie. It's a practical effects fucking smorgasbord. It's so much fun.
It's so weird. That thing like leaked into my subconscious because like every now and then I'll have a random nightmare where it's a killer clown. I'm like, I'm not even scared of you. So we're doing that. What the fuck is this? It's like, yeah.
I don't know. I love the movie. I love the effects, and the fucking title song by the Dickies is just,
dude.
That's an earworm if there ever was one.
Yes, and beer brand beer. I love any horror movie that has beer brand beer.
And any movie that uses cotton candy as a way to kill people.
Yes, always.
Yeah,
I actually have like a let's popcorn ray gun tattooed on my leg with one of my characters.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah, what's the other thing? And then the human puppet. That's the other kind of big effects thing where the Vernon Ward is it Vernon Ward? It's the guy who plays the dean in Animal House as the dickhead cop, and he's turned into a hand puppet by the clown. I love that.
No one's going to make a dummy out of me.
Right. Yeah. Joke's on you, motherfucker. I love that movie. We did a podcast on that a really long time ago.
Aww.
Yeah. That's a good one, though. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Oh, man. Dust it off.
They kept talking about making sequels for forever. The
Dude,
Chiodo brothers are like,
forever.
Still, I'm convinced we'll get it eventually.
Like every other year, I'll get like a message from one of my friends from high school being like, hey, they're making a sequel to Killer Clowns. I'm like, yeah, I'll see it when I get into it. It's fine.
when it comes out, which is seemingly never. But hey, we're getting a sequel to Hocus Pocus, so anything is possible.
Yeah, I guess.
Whoa, do you not like Hocus Pocus?
No, I like Hocus Pocus. It is fine. It was not one...
If the listeners can see Maggie's face, this
My face is doing whatever it's doing, but it's...
You made a face. You did.
Yeah, that's fair. I just don't understand why a sequel. Oh, because it's popular. That's right.
But here's the funny thing. What the funny thing about it is, you say that, but it took Disney however many years to make a sequel to a movie that's been popular for a decade now.
Yeah, but I think it's more...
merchandising the shit out of it for a very long time.
Well, fair. But even so, I remember that there was kind of like a YouTube pop where that was kind of a trending title. So it's like, I'm sure that was kind of a push to shove thing. Yeah, I remember like a couple creators like came out of the woodwork with like Hocus Pocus stuff, probably like last year Halloween, being like, this is the best movie ever. And it's like, I mean, it's a good movie, but...
It is good. It's not a Disney movie. I think that's what I like about it. Is like it's a Disney movie, but like not.
It's
there's
not
a lot of fucking subtext in that movie that's not Disney.
Yeah, it's like something wicked this way comes. I think that's also a Disney title. I forget because it's really hard to find. So I'm assuming it's because it's a Disney movie. But great creepy book.
Is that Buena Vista? I think yeah. What? Hocus Pocus is Buena Vista because it wasn't Hollywood Pictures. So that was how it's, again, Disney, but not
Disney, right.
But it's Disney now. They've brought it into the fold.
Yeah, it's the Disney monopoly continuously consuming.
The weird thing is, like, it seems like, because we just talked about Arachnophobia, which is a Hollywood Pictures movie, which is Walt Disney Studios. They called them, they were a production company under Hollywood Studios, or Hollywood Pictures, but they also had Buena Vista, which is where Hocus Pocus came out. So it's fucking weird. I don't know. I don't get it. I think Hocus Pocus is one of those movies that I definitely took a long time to come around on, but I'm glad I did. But it's no Halloween Town. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's fair. Honestly, my favorite Halloween watch, every fucking year I gotta watch it, is freaking Ernest Scared Stupid.
I mean, Miak.
Oh, dude, some authentic Hungarian miak.
Miak, bro.
Dude, there's so many good lines in that. Yeah, my family and I have memorized that shit. It is a tradition.
To the Trento.
Boy, I sure hope you're from Keebler.
Jim Varney is absolutely one of the greatest goddamn actors of all time. And
I am
like
so
classically trained Shakespearean actor too. Like
he's fucking brilliant,
yeah,
dude.
He's a great actor. He played Slinky Dog.
And a great guy to boot. He wouldn't smoke in front of kids because he knew kids watched Ernest. So it's like, dude, that guy's a champ. I remember crying so hard when I heard he died as a kid because it's like all I wanted was a damn autograph. He was my hero.
Ernest is, for someone who started out their career, at least as that character, as a literal ad, selling things.
Yeah, just TV ads.
Yeah. I mean, then you get Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the Ernest movies. I think I've seen Ernest Goes to Prison, Ernest Scared Stupid.
Yes.
I don't know if I've seen anything else. I think those are like the two big ones, right?
Well, yeah, Ernest Goes to Jail is probably the most well put together one. I do love I love Scared Stupid because of that. I would also say Ernest Goes to Camp. It's a lot more cheesy, but also fucking love it. Plus more gross out humor from Jim and Bobby with Eggs Erroneous.
I think I have seen that one.
Yeah. Most of the other ones are kind of 50-50. You really have to take them with a grain of salt.
Ernest
Obviously,
in the
they
Army.
go down a little bit.
Ernest Goes to Africa.
That one.
Yeah, I mean, Ernest Goes to Africa has a bad title in and of itself.
The Army one's bad. Oh, although I will say, I hated Ernest Rides Again, but that intro song slaps so hard.
Rides Again.
Just, okay, if you haven't seen it, fuck the movie. Don't watch the movie. Watch the intro. Just YouTube Ernest Rides Again theme song. Because
what is he writing?
It's like the old... I mean, I could blow a fuse and just say, I mean, he does ride a cannon at one point in time, but that's not the point of the movie, though.
I don't think... Is that like one of the later ones?
I forget if that was like right in the middle or if it was later, because I think like Africa and Army were more the later ones.
How are we talking about Ernest? That's the question.
Because scary season. Ernest Scared Stupid.
Ernest Scared Stupid is a good one.
Also, the troll faces, those are works of art.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about great masks.
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Oh, yeah. No, the effects in that movie are pretty good. The set, like the set design is pretty good. It's a decent Halloween movie.
Yes. It's pretty damn good. And the child actors, they're not bad at all.
No. And then I forget what the actress who's in that film that plays the crazy mad scientist woman. She's also
Eartha Kitt.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see Madame Zeroni, but like cracked out and living in a junkyard.
There you go. What is a Halloween movie that you cannot stand?
Oh man.
Mine used to be Hocus Pocus. It did.
Oh wow. Holy shit. Okay, so what's yours now then?
That I can't stand? I'm trying to think off the...
Yeah, because...
Turn to the gun on me! What have you done?
Yeah, I know. In Russian roulette, I hit pass. I don't know. I thought that was a thing.
Pointed at my face and said, Chris, fucking answer.
I'm not dying in this tiger pit.
Halloween movie that I'm not a... Maybe that just...
Yeah, because I remember, like, in grade school, there was one that we watched in class. I think it was, like, not Stranger in the Woods, Watcher in the Woods. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. But it started off so dang well, and then it just ended, and it was so unsatisfactory. Then they made, like, 2 different endings, so it was really unhinged. But it had potential to be good, but it just kind of wrecked whatever free day we had in school.
I'm trying to think of like something that's really popular that I'm not a huge fan of. I mean, I'm a fan of most of like the big ones. I mean, I don't think that there are any characters that like, any like franchises that I'm not a huge fan of. You know what? Movies I don't like, and I don't know if these are Halloween movies, but I'm really not a fan of like anything that Eli Roth has done.
Oh, well.
Hostel is just...
Nah.
It's a fucking bad movie by a director who tapped into something I mean, he tapped into our post 9/11 torture porn thing that our country has been dealing with forever since then. But
right.
like if you watch it now, it feels very time and very place, and that's not a good thing for something like that.
No, and I just didn't find them really engaging. Like with like Saw and everything, I could kind of understand.
Seen the first Saw in a while. The first Saw movie is a straight up crime movie. It's like a cop drama.
Yeah, with
like
just weirdnesses.
Everybody forgets that the first Saw movie is nothing like the rest of them. It
plays out like a weird, like CSI Miami
cop
type
drama,
of thing.
Yeah, it's a cop drama.
But it didn't quite capture the same magic as, like, I don't know, I'll still stick by the franchise of Final Destination. Because that was nothing but senseless kills, but it still was fun to watch. Whereas, like, Saw and Hostel just kind of had that...
A couple of those Final Destination movies are real bad.
Oh, they're hot garbage, but I will, like, pass it just because the last one rounded it all the way back to the beginning.
The last one is so good, right? The last one and the first one are really... Like, the last one, I will go to bat as that last one probably being my favorite one.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I do enjoy the first two. The second one, that's more of a nostalgia factor, because I remember, like, being invited to a birthday party just because I had DDR, and I knew it. So I was, like, the life of the party because I did not give a fuck who I pissed off.
The life of the party, though, Maggie. Come on.
Thanks.
I've hung out with you.
Man, I was a wallflower back then, so I just had the weird game that people wanted at their party.
Games. Do you like games? Invite me to your party.
Hey, you have that weird dance game that you're obsessed with. We want that as a novelty, but you're attached to it.
Yeah, we were able to play that, but like, you know, could you like not show up? Just drop it at her house and leave?
Could you? No, we'll be polite. We'll let her in. It's fine. She's not that weird.
Well, I mean, being weird is a good thing.
Hey, I didn't backtrack on it, so I stuck with my shtick, thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, it's funny, like, Final Destination 1, I can see where you're coming from with 2, because 2 has those carryover characters from the first movie, though they're
a little bit
essentially fucking killed for no reason.
I just like that end sequence of, like, the systematic kills that you weren't really expecting. Like, I fucking love the fence slice. Like, that's my favorite.
The fence slice is such a great stinger. It's like completely out of nowhere too.
Right. And so I did like when the pieces finally fell for that one. Also, was it the third one that they tried? No, was it the second one that they tried to stop the killing? And so they had the callback character?
Yeah, the second one is where they bring Ollie Larder back.
Thank you. I couldn't remember if it was second or third.
Yeah, she's like in the insane asylum or the...
Yeah, where they went all Dream Warriors on it.
Yeah, they're like, we need your help. And she's like, I know the rules now. It's like, what the fuck, movie?
I thought I left this.
Yeah, and then she literally fucking blows up because...
Dude.
Because you can't stop death, folks.
Not twice. Especially not twice.
No. You know what, I do have a horror movie that I'm not a fan of. And I'm going to make a statement. It's not about one movie. It's more about a year. It would seem the more movies I'm watching from 1999 are fucking bad.
Ooh.
Horror movies. I know 1999 is a good year for cinema for other stuff. The Matrix. We know.
Yeah, horror was taking a wind-up break.
The Haunting?
Which sucks so hard because I love the original.
It sucks so hard because it's a beautiful movie. Like, it actually is a really well-shot film. Like, it has interesting sets, interesting set design, no scares. Not scary.
Yeah,
terrible CGI. Like, oh my god.
Fucking terrible. And it's like, you had Zeta Jones in it. Like, what?
And you had Luke Wilson, and you had Liam Neeson. It's like the only horror movie Liam Neeson's been in, and it is just... It's so ineffectual at being scary. It's
a tragedy.
It's really bad.
It's a fucking tragedy.
I say that because over the weekend we watched The Haunting, and then we watched The House on Haunted Hill, the other 1999 horror movie with Taye Diggs and Ollie Larder and Chris Kattan.
They did remake that one.
Jeffrey Rush playing Vincent Price, essentially.
Okay. That pisses me off on so many levels because anytime somebody tries to remake something with Roddy McDowall in it, don't. It's perfect. If Roddy's in it, it's perfect. Leave it alone.
It's true. I agree. And
there's only one that I'll give a small pass to, a very, very small pass to, and that's Fright Night.
Well,
so
yeah.
do low-key love the new one, too.
The new one is actually really good. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
Both on equal levels, because I love them for different reasons, because the remake actually answered a lot of questions that I'd be yelling at the screen, like, you're in a suburban area. How are you not hearing all of these people in broken glass? There's a giant bat thrashing around in the basement. Call the cops. Whereas in the remake, it's literally a ghost town, so it's like, oh, well, duh.
Yeah, you're in Vegas, so it makes sense. I actually saw the remake before I ever saw the original. I only saw the original in the last year.
No kidding.
Yeah, I love the original and I love the remake. I actually, if you were to ask me like top 10 horror remakes, that's in the top 5.
Oh yeah, easily. Top 3 for me. That it's hard for me to like a remake because I am very stubborn, but I'll always watch it just because of the off chance that they actually do something new and interesting with it. But also, Fright Night Part 2, equally good. Plus some good vampires in that one.
You're talking about the sequel to the original, not the sequel to the remake.
Yes, I know. Super confusing because that sequel to a sequel sucks ass hard.
That's what I've heard.
Where Jerry Dandridge is Jerry Dandridge. It's like, why did you switch that? They made Jerry a female.
Now I see.
In the sequel remake,
as they would say,
or the remake sequel, whatever.
It's the sequel. It's the sequel to the remake.
Yeah.
Fright Night 2.
It was really bad.
I haven't even seen it, and I know it's bad. Like, it's like American Psycho 2. Remember that?
Oh gosh,
with Mila
that
Kunis.
was
what
so
a fucking
stupid.
nightmare.
God,
what were they thinking? Like, God, good
I
Lord.
don't know.
And Patrick Bateman is like in there, and he gets killed by her. I think. Like,
I swear, it has to be like a weird situation, like what happened with Hellraiser, where you just have a shit ton of scripts, but you need to sell them, so you have to slap a property on it to sell it, because that's the only ones that were buying back then. Yeah, even still to this day, kind of.
That's how you get 8 fucking Hellraiser movies.
That have nothing to do with Hellraiser.
And best I can tell, the first 3 are the only ones worth watching.
Yeah, I like 1, 2, 3 was
Oh, come on. The guy with the camera in his face and the CD head, man.
Yeah, CD head, wow.
Motorhead doing the music. Come on, like...
Motorhead will never do any wrong, but
the third one for me, and we're talking about the 3 movies on an episode month, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but the third movie's Pinhead is what I wish Freddy Krueger was after the third Freddy movie.
Yeah,
he's like he's like a total bastard who doesn't care, and he can be tongue-in-cheek, but he will just kill you. Like, Freddy is this like weird, like taunting, like plays with his food thing, and like at some point it becomes
he hits Joker levels.
Yeah, when the killer is more entertaining than the characters, we have a problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna be rooting for that guy. Yeah. Honestly, the only Hellraiser movie that I hate absolutely 100% is the 5th one, because there was nothing to do with Cenobites in it until
like that one.
That was Inferno, I believe. But it was a detective drama. It had ninja Cenobites, I think, happened in there. Otherwise, I was on drugs. But
very well could have been. I mean, there was a seedy head guy in the third one, so.
But Pinhead only showed up in the last 15 minutes of the movie, and only for like 3.5 minutes. It was
doesn't sound like a Hellraiser movie to me.
No, it wasn't. Until somebody put a property on it.
And what's weird is, if you think about the franchises, Hellraiser really got fucked by that.
Oh yeah.
More so than like a lot, like Friday the 13th, those still feel like Jason movies. Nightmare, they still feel like Freddy movies. Hell, even Halloween. Like, yeah, Halloween 3 is its own thing, and Halloween 3 is amazing for different reasons, but those Halloween movies still, I mean, yeah, they have that whole weird, like, the Mark of Cain or some shit. That's Michael, supernatural being, which, you know, they've retconned all of it, so what does it matter at this point? But, like, even those movies were they still felt like they belonged in that universe. Yeah, from what I can tell and from what I've heard from people, like, everything past Hellraiser 2 and, in my opinion, 3 is just a fucking mess.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, because Doug Bradley's amazing.
And he's stuck with it. I love that guy.
He's still stuck with it until they fucking recast him.
Yeah, which I don't acknowledge those. Yeah, I do not acknowledge those ones.
What is that? Revelations and something else?
I forget the one after.
Yeah,
I lost track of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I really have a love for horror movies, and October is such a fun time to talk about them, but when I think about stuff like Hellraiser and how batshit it's gotten out of control with like it's just not what it was anymore, I really wish we could get someone to go to these genre films like Nightmare and Friday and Hellraiser, and like someone who really likes it make something cool again. Like as much as I wasn't a fan of the new Halloween movie, it was a pretty good Halloween movie. It was just kind of Halloween again.
Fair.
Right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. Actually, that's pretty much what everybody's done. Force Awakens, Jurassic World.
Yeah.
That fucking the Matrix movie that's coming out. Like they're all just saying let's just reboot it, but reboot it in a way that's convenient for us.
I'm waiting for like the wild card pick. Like ever since I saw the new Candyman, and I saw those puppeteered excerpts, which were beautifully done. That was fantastic
Relegated
puppeteering.
to the credits though, but whatever.
But what I will say is if they did that movie all puppeteered, how much more can you set yourself aside from a franchise and making it completely different and absolutely ridiculous? Oh, yeah. Like, I want somebody to do something wacky like that. Like, release a full-blown animated Freddy movie. I don't know. Make it like an acid trip.
Do something. I mean, that is the thing. When I say someone... Yeah, when I say someone do something interesting, I don't mean just go make another fucking Nightmare on Elm Street movie, because we saw what happened when you did that. And you
can include the Easter eggs and all that happy horse shit for the fans, but seriously, why not just completely deviate? Fuck it.
I don't know. I don't know, because what they've done so far has not been successful. There have been...
They're playing it safe, man.
On two hands, I can count how many good horror remakes there are, and I might be stretching it with two hands. It may be...
Exactly.
I mean, that Friday the 13th remake is better than it has any right to be, but it's not great. The Nightmare one is okay.
Good?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
What did you hear me say last?
You were going off on Friday the 13th.
Right. The new Friday the 13th isn't terrible. It's better than it has any right to be. The new Nightmare movie is awful.
Ooh.
Jackie Earle Haley got a raw deal being Freddy Krueger in that. And it's not his fault that movie's not good. He actually is pretty goddamn scary. And then, what's the other one? There's one other one that they did a remake, right? Oh, Texas Chainsaw. And I like that movie. I actually like that movie.
Okay, I haven't checked it out yet just because, I don't know, the first movie, well, not the first, the original, I've only seen twice, and the second time was not by choice. That was one of the movies that kind of hit me, and it just kind of creeped me out, so I couldn't really watch it again. I don't know why. It just had that vibe to it.
One. I've heard people say, it's a movie that makes you feel gross and dirty at the end. You want to take a shower. Tobe Hooper is successful making that movie because it elicits that reaction. So.
Oh, yeah. The intro is wonderfully done. I will stand by that. That was so good. And the sound design is gorgeous, really.
There's a reason they brought it back in the remake.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. I'm glad to hear that.
You should check out the remake. I will go to bat for that remake. I think it's if we're talking the big kind of four, Freddy, Jason, Michael, and Leatherface, I'd say 5 with Pinhead, that's the best modern remake. Stock remake, it's the best one. Halloween and Halloween Kills and all that shit, that's not a remake, that's a sequel. Sorry. I know it is essentially a remake in a lot of ways, but it is a sequel.
Not bad.
And they retconned the shit out of 7 movies in the process, which is
beautiful.
I have my own opinion about that, and it's very strange.
Yikes.
Because I don't know when movie society or movie culture all together in one voice said, yeah, it's okay to pretend these movies don't exist anymore. That's a strange thing for all of us to agree is okay. Because seemingly for the longest time, everybody was pretty hardline on the continuity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you were just no, Halloween. This is just a fucking sequel to Halloween. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 literally don't exist anymore. What was wasn't there something else that did that? Wasn't there something else, some other movie that ignored all of its other sequels?
I mean, Puppet Master kind of did that to itself, but I think that was just kind of bad writing rather than anything else. Because, like, the character of Too Long, the actual puppet maker, he starts out as like, oh, loving and caring, these are my babies. And I'm like, yeah, they're your babies. They're the best. And then, like, the second movie, they completely backpedaled and he's like, you're working for me. Get the girl and I'll kill you. And I was terrified. That was bad.
I'm just trying to think because I thought there was something else that came out recently that was like, yeah, no, this is the true sequel. I thought there was something other than Halloween.
I don't know. They use that phrase so often whenever they come out with sequels where it's like, I forget what registers as. No, they actually mean it.
Yeah, I remember they had talked about the Alien sequel that they were making. The Neil Blomkamp, the guy who directed District 9, they had said that his movie was going to be a direct sequel to Aliens, and it obviously never got made. I don't remember. There was something else that was like, it's ignoring. I'm going to have to remember. Someone will tell me, I'm sure. But yeah, that Halloween one, it's interesting. I mean, look, the movie was successful, so nobody cares.
Yeah, right. It made them money.
We have 2 Halloween movies coming in rapid succession because of it, so.
Yay.
I'd rather watch Psycho Gorman again.
Well, okay, yeah. I'm sorry. That crew just does great work. I can't sing their praises enough. I
know it's not for everybody, but something like Psycho Gorman or The Editor or Malignant or there's what was the other movie? Fear Street 1, 2, and 3. Like, I'm more inclined and apt to watch stuff like that because I want to see something different. And as much as I appreciate franchise horror, I'm kind of past it. The good ones already exist, right?
It's kind of like my cravings for pizza rolls. They're really not that great, but every now and then I just want to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
It's kind of franchise horror for me at this point. Every now and then I'll go on that journey, sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know plenty of people, as do you, that love franchise horror, that are horror nerds, that love Freddy and Jason, and I love Freddy and Jason as much as the next guy. But there's a lot more to horror, and the militant nature behind the love of those characters, I don't get. Because, it's clear to me that if you play outside of the box with these characters, you get more interesting results than just another goddamn Freddy, man. Another goddamn Jason.
Gotta risk it.
Freddy vs. Jason is a fun movie.
Yes, it is.
It's not a great movie, but it's a fun movie.
Yeah, and I like that they did that move. Why not?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see a good versus?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's a good versus movie because, kind of eats its cake and has its way. It's not. It's the ending of that movie is a little cheap. It's a lot cheap.
Yeah, but I kind of expected that anyway.
Right. Yeah, we can't because each property is worth way too much money, so you can't get rid of one.
Yeah, I can't play favorites here.
No. Can't play favorites when millions of dollars are on the line.
No, sadly.
So, what else, Maggie? What else do we want to talk about?
What's your favorite candy for Halloween? No, I'm kidding.
What is your favorite candy for Halloween?
All I can think of is those fucking caramel apple suckers.
Oh my god. I need to introduce you to my friend Jenny. She loves those. I have a bag sitting in my house that she didn't take with her the last time she was here.
Ha! Yeah, my parents gave me some last time I visited them, and it's like, wow, I wasn't expecting trick or treat. And then it turned out the bag also had tomatoes and kale, so I felt like a weird vegan trick or treater.
And you weren't upset that it had vegan and kale in it?
No, honestly, that was a bonus. I was just expecting a shit ton of suckers, so.
Oh, there you go. What would be my favorite Halloween? You know what I really like? I really like Mr. Goodbar. I don't know why.
Ooh. Yeah, they do have the spot every now and then. It's just like the different flavored Tootsie Rolls. Anytime I see those suckers in a bag, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Aren't those called something else? They're called like Midgies, right?
I have no idea, but they're identical to Tootsie Roll.
Right, no, they're made by the Tootsie company, but like I think they have like a different name because I think the vanilla ones are called like Vanilla Midgies or something. I want to say. Correct. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. Yeah, they only have them at Halloween time too. You could not find them otherwise.
Yeah, I really don't even know where these people find them. Anytime I go to a store, Oh, well, I don't shop at Target. That makes sense.
I think
have to go to the big bigs.
I think there's an orange, a vanilla, like something like two other ones, right?
Lemon and whatever the pink one is, strawberry?
Red fruit flavor.
Yes, exactly.
Red fruit. The kind of fruit that is red.
Yeah, and the vanilla is blue, so despite you thinking there's going to be some blue nonsense, it's actually vanilla.
The vanilla one it's good. I actually like it, right?
Dude, it's delicious.
You ever take a vanilla one and a chocolate one and like twist them together?
That sounds like it would take an obscene amount of time to like warm them up to plasticity.
Why don't they make it?
Oh, well, I don't know. They should, though.
No, yeah, like,
I just pictured you, like, in the basement being like, yeah, this is going to be great.
I'm going to sit here and roll my Tootsies, dog.
Yeah, exactly. Let me roll my Tootsies up.
I'm going to roll myself a fat Tootsie right here. Hold on.
I need my minches and my Tootsies.
My fat Tootsies, yeah. Good God in heaven. Okay, last Halloween question.
Do it.
Favorite costume you've ever worn at Halloween?
Oh. All right, there's a couple, because I was quite chuffed. My mom would always make horror movie costumes. I mean, she would, but Halloween costumes.
Your mom did what my mom did, which I think is like a lost art. Like, your mom made all your costumes, right?
Yeah.
Not all the way, but like, what, until you were probably like, 10 or 11?
Oh, yeah, exactly. It was through the classic kid ages where we would have to know what we were going to be for Halloween at least a month ahead, because she would just be cussing at the sewing machine trying to get it to work.
Would you go to Walmart or somewhere and look through the patterns and pick out a pattern for your mom to make?
No, she free-handed that shit.
Oh,
she knew what was up, man.
Whoa.
So one year,
fucking seamstress over here. Okay.
No, dude, check it. It was guerrilla warfare in that fucking living room. It was awesome. There was one year I wanted to be Princess Leia because I was a Star Wars nerd kid.
Okay.
Yeah. But
speak in the past tense, why don't you?
Oh, I'm not reflecting my opinion yet.
Yeah, right.
But she was stuck on how to do the hair, and my sister and I, being dingbats, were just running around with pantyhose on our heads for no reason. And she's like, "Hey,
it's pretty smart.
That's a good idea." So the hair, the buns were just pantyhose sewed together and stuffed.
Mom ingenuity right there.
Dope. There was one year I went as Charlie Brown's costume, which was just a sheet with a bunch of holes in it, and I carried around a rock.
So you were a ghost with a rock?
Yeah, with a bunch of holes. Right. It was classic Charlie Brown. But I think my favorite was, a lot of my ideas got stolen by my parents. Like, they went as black and white movies where they did, like, vintage clothes. It looked surreal. They pulled it off very well. But I actually won scariest costume in my high school dance. Still didn't get in the yearbook, so I have no photographic proof, sorry. But I went as the Joker from Dark Knight. But at Thrift, I found a like candy stripper dress, like the little white nurse uniform things. So I went as the Joker while he was disguised as the nurse. It was fucking dope. Yes. Yeah.
Which I would contend, like, for me, is probably the better Joker look, because in my mind, while I think Heath Ledger looks amazing in that normal, like, the purple jacket and everything, it speaks to how subversive that character is when he's in drag, essentially. Like,
I mean, that was the comics for me, so it's like, hell yes. I just somehow had the dress at the right time, so I was Nurse Joker.
Yeah, as much as I'm not a fan of that movie, Heath Ledger, you can't take that performance away from that movie.
No. I am actually a huge fan, but I'm a nerd, so...
I don't like that movie because Christopher Nolan didn't want to make superhero movies, and it shows. It shows.
That's part of the charm for me, honestly.
Sure, I get it. You either find it charming or you find it mildly infuriating.
Yeah.
And for those of us who find it mildly infuriating, my favorite Batman will always be, unless somehow magically this new one is better, 1989.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah. I've never seen Batman Returns, though.
Oh, well, fair. Honestly.
Everybody has told me it's better than the first.
No, I agree with you on that one. The Tim Burton Batman is still, like, my favorite, aside from the TV show, honestly. In the 90s, the animated series, they did a really good job.
Oh, Kevin Conroy.
That's pinnacle.
Oh, yeah. God.
Love it.
Mark Hamill's the best Joker, guys. Like,
oh, he has the best Joker laugh. I don't care if you think he's the best Joker. That laugh is perfect.
There's a reason why they have brought him back for like everything.
All of them. I love it.
Yeah, like it's very rare for it was rare. I think he's retired from doing it now. I want to say. I forget what he said. Something was like the last time he was doing it.
Oh yeah, they've since like shifted voice actors to other competent Jokers, but
Mark Hamill's it's too good.
Yeah, love it.
Like they say in Hot Fuzz, you're making us all look bad. I mean, there's not a lot of competition. I mean, you do have on-screen Jokers like Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, Jared Leto, because we hate ourselves.
Right.
Hot Topic Joker, but Mark Hamill it's kind of an unfair comparison given the fact that we have how many hours of Mark Hamill's Joker versus like 2 hours of everybody else's.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And who knows where that third Batman movie would have gone if Heath Ledger had been alive. He wasn't, so that sucks. Because that third Batman movie, if you think about what that movie could have been, because they were obviously going to bring the Joker back.
Yeah, they didn't kill him at the end.
No, intentionally they didn't kill him. Like, I can't think of very many superhero movies where they don't kill the villain at the end. That's one of them.
Yep.
Like, Marvel, for the longest time, had a really hard time in not killing their villains off, and I think they still do, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that third Batman movie could have been so good if Heath Ledger had not, unfortunately, passed away.
I know.
But him passing away is the bad part, not us not getting to see the Joker. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
this is fair.
The loss of life is worse, period. Moving on.
Correct.
I'm trying to think if I have any other questions. Any other Halloween stuff?
I was going to ask what's, like, the earliest thing that scared the hell out of you?
Poltergeist.
Poltergeist? Nice.
What about you?
Even in, like, books and media across the board? Because I know we did talk about... like childhood movies that freaked us out at one point in time.
Yeah, Poltergeist, like I have distinct memories of sitting watching Poltergeist at a family friend's house who was babysitting us, and our friend's dad jumped out with a mask on during the movie and scared the shit out of me. Which is like super like, what the fuck is your problem, bro? Like I'm not...
Yeah, that's a dick move, man.
I know. And like that kind of put me off from that movie for like 15.
Man.
Like I watched fucking Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream and fucking Cannibal Holocaust before I ever came back to Poltergeist. I'm not even joking.
Nah, I mean, I believe it. Sometimes that mental stigma is just really fucking rough to get through. I remember, one of the movies, so my one of her good friends was a horror movie freak. She knew that I occasionally watched horror movies, but she would get scared, like, right off the rip. It didn't matter how dumb the movie was. So she would invite me down because she knew that my defense mechanism was making fun of the movie, so we'd be laughing instead of screaming at each other. But there was this movie called Dead Birds. I don't even remember when it was released. It was like an early thousands, I think. But it was like a cowboy spooky curse type of thing. It had terrible CGI. But it scared the shit out of me when we watched it, where I had to like jump into bed because there was a thing under the bed in the movie, and it for sure existed in my brain. And like I didn't rewatch that until I was in college, because it's like, no, it's going to be so scary. And it's like I watched it, I'm like, that was the dumbest shit ever. I hate myself for ever being scared of that.
like rewatching Poltergeist, I like it. It's a great movie, but it's not scary. Like.
No, it is a good watch, but it has those moments that definitely hit home.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing about it. Like there are moments in that movie. When I say it's not scary, I'm saying I personally don't find it scary. You and I both know there are plenty of moments in that movie that are pretty goddamn scary.
Right. Like I still can't I hate when he's looking at himself in the mirror and it's just his face starts crumbling, man.
That was the scene that did it for me. That's the scene that was seared in my mind for like 15 years.
Yeah, because I had similar nightmares like that where like my cheek would be falling apart. I hate that. Yeah, just
that scene in that movie got to me in a way that like a lot of things didn't. And I remember like going to the library and renting books and like special effects books showing like things from like The Thing and like The Fly and stuff. And I was like, man, these look really cool. and then thinking to myself, like, I'm never going to watch these movies because I'm scared. And, like, it turns out those movies are not any scarier than Poltergeist.
Right.
Like, I blame Poltergeist for putting me off to horror movies almost entirely.
Gotcha.
Which sucks.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a good movie. It's well cast. It's well directed. Whoever the fuck directed it. I like Poltergeist, but yeah, it's stuck with me in a way that, like, things don't.
I hear you.
I won't watch it, but I like it. I won't watch it unless I have to, because, like, it's just kind of... I mean, I know the beats at this point. Like, nothing is surprising, right? Like,
Right. Well, it's like my gripe with Jurassic Park. I acknowledge it's a good movie, but it's because of my childhood stigma against it that I just won't watch it unless I have to. Oh, I never told you that story? About when I was a kid?
I think you might have.
Oh, dear.
But as we bring this episode to a close, let's hear the story of Jurassic Park.
All right, kiddies. So here's the story. Being a kid, I really liked dinosaurs, and my parents knew that, and, like, they would buy me books and stuff. They wanted to support my dinosaur enthusiasm, I guess. I almost said enthusiasm. But...
Dinosaur addiction.
Yeah, exactly. Dino-diction.
Dino addiction. My strange addiction. I'm addicted to dinosaurs.
I need everything dinosaur.
Life is only validated peace.
Give me the Parasaurolophus or die.
Saurus, motherfucker. Let's go. Hand it over.
But
that's some shit right there. Give me the Ankylosaurus.
I like it.
Come on. Fork it over. Come on.
So there weren't too many movies that we had in our family archives that was dinosaur based, except for, like, Jurassic Park, which was a quintessential classic. Well, we didn't have We're Back, probably because it would annoy the piss out of Mom, because she's very picky about her musical adventures, because we would figure out that it annoyed her, and we would watch it religiously to annoy her. So
you're telling me that your mom would not, quote, roll back the clock to the dawn of time and sing this song with me?
No.
That movie is that's the second time that movie has come up in the last 2 days, and it's 2 times too many.
Oh, man. That fucking movie.
No, Jay Leno, John Goodman, Walter Cronkite.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot he was fucking in that.
Yep, and so is Jay Leno. Yep.
Huh. Well, I remember that.
So Jurassic
Park. So anyway, that was the only movie that we had with dinosaurs in it. So what they did as a nice solution for Kid Maggie was we would watch it up until the point where they get to the park. You see all the wandering dinosaurs. And I remember the scene clear as day. It was the egg hatching with the little baby dinosaur, and then the tape would be shut off. And I'd be like, that was a good adventure. Let's keep going with the dinosaur talk, whatever. So for the longest time, and by that I mean when I was like maybe 13 or 14, I had no fucking idea that Jurassic Park was any longer than that.
45 minutes? Not even.
I didn't have concept of time. In my kid brain, I thought it was a full-ass movie. I don't know.
I believe you. I'm not judging you for it. Like, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, when you see the animated pics from my childhood, it makes more sense.
I get it.
But, so, like, it was one day I was home by myself, and I'm like, oh, shit, I remember this movie. I'll go ahead and give it a watch. And it got to the egg hatching scene, and I'm like, this is bringing back some good memories. And then it kept going, and I'm like, what the fuck? they made, So I did not know what Jurassic Park was, and I remember so many people being like, oh, it's such a good movie, and blah, 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 and they're talking about it, and I'm like, it wasn't that great. And it's because I only watched like 20 minutes of the fucking thing.
This is a very strange story, you know that? Like, what's strange about it is
I was so pissed.
It's strange because I don't know how many people, there must be other people that share this experience with you. There have to be.
Or at least a similar experience, but like, yeah. I can appreciate them not like showing their kid like a T-Rex chomping someone off the shitter, but at the same time, I watched Raiders of the Lost Ark and saw Nazis get fucking vaporized. Why?
That movie is much more graphic than.
Yes, it is. So I don't know.
That's readily, I guess, assumed to be like a somewhat like adult, like not adult, but like a family action movie.
Yeah.
They regularly show it at like. I don't know, like Cinemark summer movies type shit. Like,
right.
And yet a dude at the end of the movie, like 2 characters like fucking melt.
Yeah.
What?
I remember rewatching that scene because I was just fascinated by it as a kid. I'm like, whoa, that would actually happen? It's like, not really, but it would be cool.
You know what movie actually scared me a lot as a kid? Come to think of it, as we bring this to a close, The Mummy from 1999.
Oh yeah, that had some really good parts, like some solid jump scares, like when they first unearth him, the juicy mummy scene.
He looks so
juicy.
Oh my god, we've done an episode on it, but the 1999 Mummy it's truly like
fucking great,
it's
man.
It's the best Indiana Jones movie that was never made, and it's probably better than Indiana Jones because, man, Brendan Fraser is too charismatic for his own good.
Just everybody is. The whole entire cast really plays it the fuck up. Yeah, and they are all fucking sexy as hell.
Oh yeah, like everybody, even the prison guard dude isn't a bad looking guy. Like
no,
like
right?
Even Eric Avari, the librarian, not a bad looking dude. Like there's not a bad looking actor in the lot of them.
Hell no.
Yeah.
But I will agree, that had some really like creepy moments that stuck with me, like specifically the green mummy that was like the blonde guy when all of the plagues were going through. It was just the aftermath of him like reclaiming his shit, where it was just the mummy in there, where it's like, ugh, gross.
Yeah. I also, the thing with the scarabs always got to me.
Ew, yeah. Looking back, the CGI is really not that spectacular for that effect, but the thought alone is just like,
CGI
fuck
is
that.
really bad.
Oh, it is, but hey, for that time, they pulled off a lot.
It's one of the few effects in the movie that's shot in like total daylight, so that's why.
Definitely.
It's well lit, which means it doesn't look great, because you can make things look good when they're not well lit, so. Yeah, no, that 1999 Mummy, I remember we saw it in the theater, and I remember, like, the beginning, I found it to be rather scary, like, when he's getting his tongue cut out, and he's, like, thrown in the coffin. It's not scary, it's if you're an adult, but if you're a kid, it has some moments that are pretty intense.
But it is spooky.
9.
Yeah.
9-year-old Chris seeing that movie, I saw that movie after reading the novelization, the children's novelization. Took out all of the bad stuff. So when you see it as an adult or like as a kid, you're like, oh god, they didn't have the mummy getting its tongue cut out in the book.
They didn't tell me this.
Yeah, exactly. But man, I was obsessed with that movie.
Easily.
Yeah, I've already done an episode, so we can't do another one, but it's so good.
I know.
God, it's so good.
Yeah, I even fucked around with the second one. Obviously, it's terrible, but you know what? Every now and then.
Van Helsing is a better sequel to the first Mummy.
You know what? Yes. Right. That's a good point. I like that. Yeah.
Like, you know what, Van Helsing...
That's a spiritual successor right there.
And people want to shit on Van Helsing, like, it's not a great movie, but, like, you know what? I would contend it's no less fun than 1999 Mummy.
Yeah, it's more of an adventure flick. I really enjoy adventure flicks. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you know what? Nobody has done Universal Monsters better recently, so...
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
Remember
that
the
project
Tom
fell
Cruise
through.
Mummy movie, for fuck's sake? Oh, my God, what? Holy there is part of me that still cannot believe that movie got made.
No, I know. And honestly, I was looking forward to them, like, redoing some of the monster movies because they're kind of built that way. That's what 1999's Mummy is, because obviously, I mean, Boris Karloff's a good mummy, but that script sucked, so...
Yeah. They're pretty blank slates that can be turned into whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. And I was totally curious about what they were going to do for, like, Black Lagoon and all of that. It would have been pretty cool to see what they came up with, but they suck at coming up with original ideas, so...
Well, and the sad thing is it really hinged on that Mummy movie making money. And
I know.
they had the Dark Universe, like... The Dark Universe, I promise you, like 5 years from now, we'll have like the definitive oral history on the Dark Universe, because there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we ever will know about. Because they had people cast. They had movies essentially like past pre-pro, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
The Bride of Frankenstein movie was like, they were getting ready to shoot it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no kidding. There has to be some footage somewhere. Right.
was that Angelina Jolie, Javier Bardem was going to be Frankenstein. Johnny Depp was the Invisible Man.
Yes, that's right. I was trying to remember because I remember something Invisible Man, but I forgot what I heard. Because, I mean, to a point, it was just all rumors.
Well, no, that was the funny thing. Remember they had like a GQ or Esquire or Variety had like a cover shoot with like, it was a whole article in the magazine with them, like all of them.
That's so whack.
I know, and then it literally like I remember sitting in the theater for that Mummy movie, watching it, and that Dark Universe thing showed at the beginning, and I was like, they are getting ahead of themselves.
Just a bit. I remember those coming out while I was taking like a Universal Studios tour when I stopped in LA, being like, wow, they were just showing all of these like posters of movies past, and then as it gets more contemporary, it's like, uh-oh.
Dark Universe. And the sad thing is, and we've talked about this before, horror fans don't have something like that. Like, we don't have an MCU. Which, like, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but I think there's a place for it.
I mean, I think the equivalent is the franchise Doom. That's kind of their universe, but...
I mean, actually, the thing that's the universe now is the Conjuring movies. That's the closest we have, because it's Conjuring 1, 2, and 3, Annabelle 1, 2, and 3, The Nun, La Llorona, and there's one other one in there.
La Llorona. No, I didn't anticipate that it would have been.
Quite bad. There's one other one in there. But, like, for me, that's the closest we'll ever get. And even that shows its problems when they overextend themselves. Because The Nun is not a good movie.
Yeah, I guess it just kind of depends.
I mean, you're right.
Especially
franchises are the MCU. Like, that's this genre's version of that.
Right. Because
connected, it's just a proliferation of fucking sequels for franchises.
Right, because it wasn't necessarily owned by one company. The freaking, I mean, obviously MCU is now under the Disney blanket, so they can toy around with a lot more property. Far as Universal goes, that's all of their old names that can play around as needed, but there isn't like a definitive, blanket over all of the horror genre thing.
Which is literally why we never got anything past Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
Because, do you know what the original ending for Freddy vs. Jason was?
No, what?
They were going to go to hell, and then Pinhead was going to be there, and they were going to lead into Hellraiser versus, Freddy versus... And guess what they couldn't do? Come to a fucking agreement on the licensing, and so they didn't do it.
My gosh. That's when you just have to homebrew it.
Well, or you make it into a comic book, which is what happened with the other idea, which is Ash versus, Freddy versus Jason. Great comic book series on top of everything else.
Yeah, really, I enjoyed the Army of Darkness comics where they would just kind of screw around and do all of that stuff. I love it. That was good.
But you're never going to get a movie of it.
So. No, but hey, I'll take my media. I like comics, obviously.
Yeah.
So...
And I think, if memory serves, in one of those comics, there's like they assault the White House, and like Heather Langenkamp is there, and there's like characters from Friday the 13th. There's characters from Nightmare. They're like the main hero characters from some of the movies are there with Ash from Evil Dead. Yeah, like fuck it, that's what I want.
Yeah, please. That's all I request.
I just want people who love horror movies to make horror movies, not people who are obligated to make.
Right. Yeah. Just a little bit more diversity in the material that's being output right now would be great.
Yeah. So, on that note, Maggie, where could people find you when you're not?
Ooh, you can find me at your local thrift store looking for a sweet-ass jacket for my own Italian Giallo movie. Or Instagram. You can also follow me at MaggieTheOdd.com or something. Instagram.
Maggie
I do not have my website up yet, but I'm working on it, people. I promise.
You could have it. You could just claim it's someone else's web. My website is Amazon.com. Just go to Amazon.com.
You can find me at Pornhub.com.
Whoa, man.
Not me personally, but I own it.
You can find me there. like browsing.
Yeah, no, like I am there. You can just join me in watching.
Me on Pornhub. Yeah, like they have like oh my god, that's the feature they need to add, the watch with me feature on Pornhub.
Oh, nice. You can set up playlists and shit.
They're like, hey guys, you want to sit down and watch Gaping Assholes 4? All right,
Come on, it's the Goatsy playlist, baby.
Wow. The Goatsy playlist. Wow. Only you would make that joke, and only I would think it's funny because Goatsy? Really, Maggie?
Hey man, I was digging deep.
So was he.
Pun intended. Yeah.
He was digging real deep. Elbow deep.
Yeah, really.
As for me, you can find me at cstachiw.com. That's my first letter of my first name and my last name at theinternet.com. It's a link tree. Just go there. Whatever.
Just go
there. I don't know. Like, it feels weird to tell people to go to a link tree.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go to my link tree. That's where you can find information about the other stuff I work on. Maggie does the artwork for some of the shows that worked on. Chronicles from the Crypt, which is a finished show talking about Tales from the Crypt, and Scary Stories We Tell, which is not ending anytime soon.
Nope.
And Maggie does the artwork for that show.
I'm everywhere, baby.
Yeah. I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere.
You look at a thing, I did that thing.
Yeah, exactly. And patreon.com/culturecast is where you can go to give us $1 if that's your thing. Bonus episodes, stuff like that. And yeah, Maggie, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a blast. Sorry,
of course.
It wasn't better, but...
Once again, I knew what I was getting into.
Earnest, so...
Duh.
Yeah.
That's always a win.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode.